Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name is, of course, Seesaw or Chris, and today we're talking about Final Fantasy XIV in 2019. How's it going, everyone? Hopefully you are having a great start to your weekend. I'm doing quite well myself. In today's video, we will be talking a bit about my summoner. That's right, I have successfully passed through the Arcanist phase, and I am now a summoner. I actually think my summoner has now overtaken my bard in terms of overall level, which is pretty crazy how quick I was able to do it. And I say quick relatively because I'm still very slow at all of this. And I also know that there are kind of a catch-up mechanic that works in your favor when you are doing a second job or any job that comes after that, which I think is a really cool system because it definitely encourages you to try out different jobs, try out different things without having to feel like, oh my god, it's going to be such a long grind again. So I really enjoy this feature of the game. It's one of the best parts of Final Fantasy XIV in my perspective, being able to switch between different jobs so easily. And it really is as easy as everyone kind of says it is, because you just switch in a different gem, you switch your gear, there you go. And I'm not even using sort of like the wardrobe system and all of that, which can make it even more impactful when you do change jobs. But we'll get into all of that in just one moment. I did want to give a quick shout out. So Friday, which was yesterday for you guys. I always get really confused when I am trying to talk to you in the future. So last Friday, I did a podcast recording with Work to Game, which I'm very excited about. We've been trying to find a time to do it for the last little while here. And they're just such great guys. In terms of joining a community of creators, no one has ever been as friendly as Work to Game in terms of taking in new creators coming into Final Fantasy XIV and sort of helping them guide their way through the game, which is just such a big thing they do. I've had in other gaming communities, sometimes I've had the actual game creator sort of approach me and stuff like that, but it's very rare that you see other content creators take it upon themselves to really help people enter the game. They've both done this for a lot of people coming into Final Fantasy XIV. So it's just really nice to see. I did sit down with them and we talked for about an hour. So if you've ever wanted to have an extended version of listening to me, this would be a great situation. I believe that the actual YouTube version of it goes live on Monday. So this coming Monday, you can check out their YouTube channel and it should be there. I'll probably put the link for it in this video once it is out, but I'll probably mention it in the next video as well once it's already been out as well. So you should have time to catch it. You can also obviously go and look at the video on Twitch and stuff like that if you would prefer to see that angle as well. But it was a really cool experience. Number one, I was doing it live on Twitch, which was super cool. Oh, before you get all excited and then disappointed, there was no face reveal. That's something we're saving for a different time. I apologize if I got you all hyped about that. That didn't happen in the video, so there you go. You get to still fantasize about what my face is, because obviously that's what you spend your time doing. But yeah, that didn't happen, so there you go. But it was cool being live. I've never had to do something live before. I am interested in live streaming and stuff like that sometime in the future, when more than anything I have a nicer computer. The laptop I have currently sometimes has issues even just recording and working on the games that I'm doing it in this way. Live streaming would definitely be stretching it to its limit. So that's something for the future, maybe. But it was just really cool to interact and kind of know that you were being listened to live. It definitely was another level of being aware and it was fun. It was also really enjoyable going through a video, having two other people. There's Brian and there's Chris, sort of bouncing questions and ideas off of each other. So it was really enjoyable. It's mostly focused on Final Fantasy XIV, but generally focused on MMOs. Like that's pretty much what we focus on anyways. So I'd check it out if you wanted to. I would be very happy. But yeah, enough about that. Let's talk about the Summoner. The Summoner has been such an enjoyable class, or job, if you will. It's really been a good mix of a pet class with also carrying forward the dot aspect. So one of the classes I loved the most in Guild Wars 2 was the necromancer. And the necromancer reminds me a lot of the Summoner because you could have pets and you could have dots. And in Guild Wars 2, unfortunately, you kind of had to choose either to go full bore into dots or full bore into pets. And in Final Fantasy XIV, you kind of get a nice mix of them because you get to carry forward your dots that you had as an Arcanist, except now you have the ability to spread the dots between monsters, which makes them feel so much more worthwhile even when the fights are pretty short. But on top of that, you have an upgraded badass pet that's fighting alongside you, so you do kind of like live with both fantasies, and I really do enjoy the gameplay of it. And in terms of actual open world content, you do still get to keep that heal, which is really nice because, you know, yes, it's not very hard in the open world. Yes, I did fine on my bard, but the ability to have a heal that just can bring you back up in health so quickly, especially if you use kind of the insta-cast button that you do have at your disposal as well, it gives you that great get out of there moment, right? Like you've maybe pulled way too much and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna die unless I do something. Well, you have that option to kind of survive and get through it. So I very much enjoyed it. I should also mention, because I'm playing through a dungeon in this video that I haven't done a dungeon video on yet, and I should touch on it a little bit. I didn't want to do one for this dungeon just because I didn't feel like I had enough different things to talk about. Aesthetically, I do love the dungeon, and one of the new mechanics that I really enjoy is kind of these block creatures that you have to kill on these pressure pads. And it's a really cool mechanic. I'd say this is the biggest change of this dungeon. There wasn't a ton else I thought I could make a whole video about, but I really enjoyed the mechanic of sort of trying to kite these big block creatures over the pressure pads before you killed them. So I thought that was a really cool thing. I'm kind of jumping all over the place like I do, but I thought that was a really cool part of the dungeon. I also tried to get into this dungeon specifically to show off some of the higher level Arcanist or Summoner skills, because I've been having the issue lately where I'll queue for a random dungeon, and because of my level, most of my dungeons are still at the Arcanist level, and I don't get to play with some of my new abilities that I'm super excited to use, but they're just not unlocked yet in that dungeon. So it's still, even to this point, taking me a little bit of time to get used to that, and I think a lot of it has to do with just getting to that higher level, right? Unlocking more content, having more abilities. It's just interesting that they have content in this game that both removes skills from you and also gives you skills way past your level. Like if you're looking at the Palace of the Dead, like we had in the past few videos, you can all of a sudden play way past your current level range. So they really are very free flow with how you use your job and use your skills. And I do appreciate that there's so many varieties of ways to level. But yeah, the main thing of this video is that I am enjoying the Summoner. Now that I've got it caught up to the same level as my bard, my big plan is to go through the main scenario quests. That's really what Work to Game kind of drove home to me as well, because I had to, be ashamed and sort of tell them what level I was. I think they were hoping I would be a higher level and able to communicate more about some of the newer content coming in, because there is more content coming into the game, obviously, with 5.1. I'm aware of it, I'm excited about it, but it's so out of my reach that it doesn't super impact me. So I am striving to get, into the newer content, because pretty much anyone you meet says, hey, the expansions is when things get really interesting. I believe Chris was saying that the first main scenario quest at level 51 or something like that is where he enjoyed the game before that, but that's where he fell in love. So I'm really excited to see what that brings. But yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening and watching this video. Hopefully you do check out the podcast or the video on Monday on YouTube from Work to Game. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.